the head coach of Nevada basketball, Eric Musselman, here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Coach?
Great, Rich. Thanks so much for having me on.
You bet. Thanks for joining. So where do we start first, the game or your post-game celebration? Which one have you heard about? Which one have you heard about more?
Rich, it depends which way you want this conversation to go. I'm open to talking about either one because, this is just such an unbelievable sporting event to be a part of March Madness. It's like nothing that I've ever been a part of, and having coached in the NBA, nothing compares to being a part of this one and done format, and crazy stuff happens. And I'm having so much fun. It's kind of like a second career for me, and I feel so lucky and fortunate to have this opportunity. And we're excited. We can't wait to get to Atlanta.
Yeah, I bet. So let's talk about this game. What do you say to your team when you're down 22 and after halftime is gone? What do you say to your team?
Well, I think the big thing, Rich, was if we go back to last year, we had a game in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we were down like 26 points. We were down, I don't even know what it was, with like 11 minutes to go. It was like 24 or something. We came back and won that game in overtime. So some of the coaches, some of the players, we had been a part of that. We did bring that up, that we felt like we could make another comeback. And what we tried to do is just give the players mini goals. We kept saying, hey, every 4-minute timeout, we got to cut this thing, because I think it was 22 points down with 11 minutes to go, or 10:58 on the clock. And so it was, how do we get this thing down to 18, and then how do we get it down to 15, and then how do we get into the single digits? And once we got it into single digits, you could tell the entire atmosphere in the arena, the momentum completely shifted. It shifted with the fans. It shifted with everybody. And at that point, now our guys are playing off adrenaline. And the most amazing thing about the whole game is we only had 2 turnovers against a team that's arguably one of the top 2 defensive teams in the country, and a very physical defensive team. And then you add in the fact that our starting point guard of 3 years, Lindsey Drew, whose father just is taking over the Cavs right now, he blew his Achilles out 5 games ago. And what we had to do, Rich, is we moved our power forward to our point guard position. And so just us valuing the ball and getting shots on goal, to me, was the most amazing thing of all that happened last night.
And then you got the Martin kids. They are really special, man. I mean, so what do they do you think, that is going to be difficult forget about Loyola of Chicago, but perhaps Kentucky? And I know you know Coach Cal for a while. I want to get into that in a second. But what do you think they can do that can help you cut down more nets here?
Well, the biggest thing with Cody Martin is the power forward that I'm referring to, that's now playing the point. He's kind of a jack of all trades for us, Rich. He's I refer to him as like a utility infielder, but he's a superstar. He's a guy that can play shortstop, third base, second base, go to the outfield if you need him. He plays all over the floor. The one adjustment that we made defensively is we took him off of Cincinnati's star power forward, and we put him on their off guard, Evans, who was absolutely killing us. So he's not only our point guard now, he's one of our best rebounders. He's one of our best assist guys. He does everything for us. And then his brother, Caleb, is a phenomenal scorer. He can really, really change the complexion of his game with his three-point shooting. And the neat thing about both Martin kids is they're such high-character kids, and they absolutely, unequivocally hate to lose.
Eric Musselman here on the Rich Eisen Show, the head coach of Nevada basketball here on the show. What's your first basketball memory, Eric? I know.
I guess my first basketball memory is when my father was coaching at Ashland College in Ohio, and I would just go to practice with him and hang out, and he had an old pregame warm-up that was like no other, where guys were spinning balls and people were on unicycles, and the gym was rocking. And then he went from Ashland to the University of Minnesota. And I would say that, I vividly remember going to school in Bloomington, Minnesota, and then after school asking my mom to please take me down to Williams Arena so that I could go hang out. And originally I thought I would go watch the 3:00 practice that would end at 5. And at that time, there was not time limits on practice, and practice really went from about 3 to 7. And then my dad would watch film, and I'd get home at 10:30 as a fourth grader. But I wanted to do it day after day after day, and my dad was my idol, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps since the day that I can remember.
And then, I mean, just your stops from Rapid City to, the NBA, Orlando, and Atlanta as assistant. You had 2 years with the Golden State Warriors, the Memphis Grizzlies, Kings. This is not your first rodeo in Reno. I mean, we could go on and on and on here. But the reason why I bring this up is that, here you are in 2018 with this moment. And I'd love to just let fans understand what it's like to be a lifer and go on this basketball journey and be able to enjoy it the way that you have here, Coach.
Well, I mean, obviously, Rich, people, I think people see, last night, how excited I was after the game and how excited I am in the locker room and with my, my players. And to me, it's just been an incredible journey. I mean, I got a great opportunity to be a head coach at a really young age of 2 teams. Made a career decision when I got let go by the Kings that I wanted to be a dad. I had 2 sons that I, felt like I hadn't been around them enough. So I was a dad for 3 years. I sat in carpool lane, sipping a Starbucks coffee, and one day, while I was in carpool lane, after 3 years, I said I got to get back to coaching, and I went to the D League and did that for 2 years, and didn't get an NBA call up, so to speak, as a coach. And we had 2 really, really great D League seasons, and I made a decision to go into college basketball, and I knew what I didn't know, and I had to put my ego aside. I had to ask for my family's blessing to go be a college assistant. Spent 2 years at Arizona State and then a year at LSU. And really, Rich, the year at LSU was a defining moment because Flip Saunders had called, and Flip had played for my dad, and he had offered me a job with the Timberwolves. And when I passed that up to go to LSU and work for Johnny Jones, who was someone that I had no prior relationship, my family was all in on the college experience, and I'm so glad I did it. And so really the 3 years of being an assistant let me have time to sit back and look at the recruiting landscape and to try to come up with a game plan when I was lucky or fortunate enough to get a head job.
Couple more minutes here left with Eric Musselman, the HC of Nevada basketball, prior to taking on Loyola of Chicago after bouncing Texas and Cincinnati here on the Rich Eisen Show. And then, obviously, we're seeing you as a 7 seed. Loyola is one of 2 11 seeds. Do you think the Blue Bloods, if you will, and the smaller programs, again, if you will, are getting closer together in college basketball? And if so, why?
I really do, Rich. I think there's parity. I think when you look at 800 plus transfers a year, I mean, I'm 53 years old, and in 1987, when I was a senior, my 4 years in college, I can remember maybe 3 guys in the whole conference that I played in the WCC that transferred. I don't even know if there was 3. And now what you're seeing is 800 plus, and so guys are going from power schools to mid-majors to low majors. Guys are going from low majors up. And so you're seeing this transition, and it's not just college. I mean, guys are playing for 4 AAU teams. Guys are going to 4 and 5 different high schools. And it's kind of the society that we live in. And I think because of all the changing rosters, it has brought parity to the college game.
Now, I know you don't want to overlook the over the windshield here, but, there's Coach Cal. The 5 seed, you know him, correct? You have a history with him in a way?
Yeah, I do have a history with Coach Cal. I was coach of the Dominican Republic national team, and Coach Cal called me one day and he said, "Hey, Mus, can you send me some tape and can you do a little write up on the Dominican players?" And I said, "What are you talking about, Cal? Why do you need that?" And he said, "Well, I'm the new coach of the Dominican Republic." I said, "Hold on. I got a contract in my email." No, I don't know. Maybe they haven't told you. So Cal ended up coaching the team after I had been there the prior year, and I ended up going to Venezuela, and we played against each other. But he's a great friend. When I was out of coaching, he was a guy that I could call and ask for advice. And it's funny because we were actually texting each other last night, and he's a guy that I certainly have really, really looked up to, especially since I've been in the college game.
All right, last one for you. Let's get to it now, Coach. Now, I know that you were caught with your shirt off last year, just putting on a championship T-shirt. I understand if you're just going to change out of a dress shirt into a championship T-shirt on the court, but what was the idea behind just taking the shirt off, going in the locker room? What happened there?
I had been tipped off that there was going to be a lot of water sprayed in my direction. Mm-hmm. I had a really expensive shirt on that I didn't want, and I had a good tie. And I work out every day because I got a very, very, very beautiful wife. And so I have no problem taking my shirt off with a camera around.
Okay. No, I hear you. Who was the player who signed your chest? Who was that?
Actually, it was my son. My son, Matthew Musselman, was in the locker room with me, and he's a high school junior, and one of the players was going to, and he grabbed the pen, and I guess he might have wanted some airtime.
So he signed your chest. Okay. So now what's now? I mean, is this now going to become a thing if you beat Loyola, or is this going to be you're going to go and start doing going to go full Chippendales here?
No, that's it. I think I got to try to uphold a little bit of professionalism, and I'm going to try to keep my shirt on for the remainder of the season.
Okay. Hey, congrats on going from venti macchiatos to venti wins in the tournament, Coach.
Thanks so much for having me on, Rich. It's awesome.
I look forward to the next time already. There's Coach Eric Musselman.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.